I am not a veteran anime watcher. While I did watch the occasional anime when I was younger, they were only the ones I saw on Dutch television, and I never thought about them as anime. When I got older and watched DBZ and Yu-Gi-Oh! GX for the first time online and in English, I started to have some idea about the Japanese produced media. But it wasn't until 2013 when I started One Piece, where I actually got into anime. Death Note, Code Geass and Fullmetal Alchemist followed closely, with the occasional seasonals that I watched while also staying up to date with every One Piece episode. Now, it was only around 2018 when I started paying more attention to seasonals and tried to watch anything that I found interesting. Now, why did I tell you all this in a video about Mirai Nikki? Well, I wanted to start doing a little series on this channel. Since I missed a lot of great, influential and classic anime, I thought, why not go back and watch some of the top rated seasonals on MAL and talk about the anime, their legacy and my opinion of it. So, if you like these types of retrospectives of older series, give this video a like and comment down below some must-watch anime I should check out. It was fall 2011. I was sitting at home playing Skyrim on my Windows 98 PC. And anime was nothing more than Bleach and Naruto to the larger audience still. However, the more dedicated people were looking forward to a death game anime, a series that would change the waifu game for years to come. With a scheming gun-throwing main character and a blade-wielding female secondary character. This anime rocks. But enough about Fate Zero. We are here to talk about Mirai Nikki. Yes, Mirai Nikki, otherwise known as Future Diary, is an anime adaptation of a manga of the same name created by the studio S-Red, and was its first mainstream western success, and hasn't hit the same level of success ever since, with only Arifureta, a light novel isekai, and Corpse Party 200 Souls, a popular Arrow game from 1996, getting mildly popular. So yeah, fall 2011 is the same time that Mirai Nikki as well as Fate Zero, the prequel anime of Fate Stay Night, and Hunter x Hunter's second attempt of an anime came out. It had very tough competition and most wouldn't even question an anime like this, with very little preceding hype outside of the hardcores that read the manga to rise to the top. But it did, and I'm here to figure out what all this hype was about. Mirai Nikki is about a young man named Yuki, who is thrown into a death game that will decide the next god. However, many will remember this series as the one with the psycho murder girlfriend. And who can blame them? Yuno was a very central character of the entire series and the secondary main character of Future Diary. Like I said, the central theme of the series is the overarching death game that is connecting most of the plot points of this series. The death game starts with 13 different diary holders. These diaries come in all shapes and sizes and are there to tell some form of future in a way that fits the holder's personality. Each diary holder is a participant in the death game and need to kill the other 12 members to win and become the new god of space and time. A very interesting premise that can lead to a lot of interesting situations and character dynamics. But the story doesn't go into that direction. However, it follows Yuki and Yuno murdering all the 12 other members, almost like all members don't even want to win, and are only there to be an obstacle for Yuki and Yuno. It's very a Monster of the Week formula, with a very soft thread that connects the story. Now, I have nothing against Monster of the Week anime, with overarching story threads. Jojo did that for its 3rd, 4th and 5th season, and I'm fine with it. But when the premise of a death game has people only focusing on the main characters, the world feels so small. And it also feels like no one really cares to win the big prize. And we care less about most of the characters, since most diary holders are only there for the 2 or so episodes that focus on them and have 0 to no interactions with other characters before they are introduced as the bad guy. But it doesn't start like that at all. Early on we are introduced to 4 diary users. Yuki and Yuno of course are the 2 main characters. Uyu, who's a terrorist who found out who Yuki is very early on, and Kurusu, a chief inspector of the local police department that already found out about the terrorist. These 4 diary users are returning characters for a large part of the series, but are the only diary holders who do after they are introduced. Every other new diary holder is killed within the same story arc they are introduced at, so we get a repetitive formula for a large part of the series. Find new diary users, figure out how the diary is used and kill them before they can kill you. But at the same time, that story structure isn't really an apt explanation of the series. Yes, it's a dev game anime. Yes, it follows our characters killing every competitor, but it's less about them killing people and more about the relationship between Yuko and Yuno. Hell, most devs take up so little screen time and so little emotional weight that I forget who died and who lived. This series mostly revolves around the ups and downs between Yuko and Yuno's on and off relationship. These are of course not normal ups and downs, not the "oh you didn't tip the waiter during our third date you cheap fuck", more the "why you keep killing people? Why you got dead people in your closet? Why did you drug me?" And honestly, out of all the above, Yuki had the most problems with getting drugged. Well, I can name 2 other shows that did the drugging storyline and the main character wasn't half as pissed. Shows how much they know. It is by the way always Yuki questioning Yuno and not the other way around. Even though Yuki has plenty of issues himself. I mean, the lad is literally carrying sharp pointy throwable projectiles at him at all time. Even at school. But Yuno is at least willing to see through Yuki's issues. Even with all the absurdity, I actually enjoyed the character dynamics. It was fun to see if they were gonna make it together or not. Especially with the amount of backpedaling Yuki does throughout this series that makes an Olympic rowing team feel inadequate. With a final that can only be described to musical cue.
Don't you say another word! Shut up!
Hey, why the hell would I lie to you, dumbass? We're friends! He didn't know, and you killed her!
You killed your own friends and then
That was not the actual final, it is more something like this. Yes, somehow the series about future-telling diaries transformed into Dragon Ball Z. So, Mirai Nikki is still being talked about to this day, with mostly its highlight character Yuno Gasai being the thing that people refer back to. But with a lot of people still talking about it, there's not a lot of positivity being spread. With a lot of people complaining about the characters or claiming that this is some very edgy or teen angsty anime. And maybe it was around that time, but with a lot of anime we have today, I can't see Mirai Nikki be any worse in that regard to most modern day anime, where blood, boobs and sex are very common things. However, in most shonen nowadays, it is very uncommon to see blood or actual wounds of combat, so for me it was pretty fresh as seeing actual blood being spilled and not just have whatever this is. Also, some people complaining about the fanservice too, and even that I don't really agree on. While this anime isn't afraid of showing their female characters fully naked, and yes, by episode 20 I got kinda tired of seeing Uyu's boobs, they don't really focus on the sexiness. No zoom-ins on the cleavage or boobs, and whenever there is full nudity it's mostly just there, in the background, with the focus on something else. What I did notice was how the first 3 episodes were pretty clean with the nudity and fan service, and then suddenly halfway through episode 4 we got a lot. And a lot of nudity. And maybe I think Mirai Nikki isn't bad in comparison, because if we look at comparisons at worst anime, Studio Asred has made edgier and hornier anime. Like I mentioned before, Arifueta is way more edgy than Mirai Nikki ever wishes to be. And Mother of Goddess Dormitory being way hornier, bordering pretty hard on hentai. Also, I found that a lot of negativity came afterwards, since the ratings on every episode back in the day were more positive than negative. And if you think those ranking polls were only filled by fans on my anime list, then here's the result of Detective is Already Dead. An anime where the rating is very reflective of the general consensus. And if you look at the individual user reviews, it is rare to find a negative review in 2011, and most negative reviews come from 2013 and after. Of course, the series wasn't perfect. It had its ranking drops halfway through the series with a lot of filler and or fan service. But that wasn't detrimental, it came over that. Hell, the final was still one of the best rated anime episodes of the entire season. But people being so negative about it is more of a recent thing than something that was already from day one. I honestly didn't dislike the series. It watched away surprisingly easy up until the last few episodes. It was only during the Dragon Ball Z fights and the Third World shenanigans where I kinda clocked out. But I can't say the first 24 episodes were anything bad. The main duo did keep me entertained, even though Yuki did seem to flip-flop between loving Yuno and being scared of her, but hey, he's a 14-year-old kid, so what can you expect of him? The returning characters were also pretty interesting. Well, at first I was afraid we would get the whole Scooby Gang vibe, but that was not the case. They were basically the characters that could ground Yuki in a more normal settings, his friends, where Yuno's influence would constantly drift Yuki deeper into the death game. That doesn't mean that his friend characters didn't help out in the death game. They most certainly did and helped bring a pretty solid ending to one of Yuki's arcs. Especially Akise, who was one of my favorite characters from his introduction onward. His flirty demeanor with Yuki and his great intellect made him a great addition to the cast and the death game as well. So yeah, I liked Future Diary. And I'm glad I went and watched it, and look forward to the other anime that I picked and should watch for this series. However, I don't think this anime should be remembered among some of the greatest animes of that time, like the earlier mentioned Hunter x Hunter and Fate Zero. However, it should be remembered as an enjoyable wacky death game anime with one of the most interesting female leads. And as I mentioned before, one thing people remember Mirai Nikki for is Juno Gasai. I know it, we know it, and yes, you know it as well. She's basically the poster girl of yandere archetype. The face she makes at the end of the very first episode is also immortalized with the yandere archetype. So ambiguous even that I used it in a video of mine over a year ago before I started watching it. Also, Yuno is a very easy cosplay target. Hell, I can't even count the amount of Halloween costumes I've seen the past month involving her. However, this anime wasn't the end of Mirai Nikki. In 2012, a light novel was released. It basically follows the same story but with the added detail of a light novel. In 2013, a sequel OVA was released called Mirai Nikki Redial, that covered the sequel manga of the same name. This release revitalized the anime for a bit, with the overall very positive reception of this OVA. No such plans, however, have been announced for the other Mirai Nikki spin-offs, called Paradox and Mosaic. Paradox being the alternate universe version of the death game, with Akise participating instead of Yukitaro, and Mosaic being the story more focused on Minene Uryu, the 9th participant of the Future Diary death game. Hello everyone, thank you for watching my video, hope you enjoyed it, and if you did, hit the like button. And if you enjoy seeing these retrospective kinds of videos, I know I said it at the beginning, but I really want to know if this is your kind of thing. I really enjoy this because I get to watch more anime and I get to make videos about them. It's like a win-win. And I have a few anime in mind already because, you know, you can't have a series without having multiple episodes. But I'm really curious as to what you guys want me to watch because, you know, I have heard of a lot of great anime that I've never watched, but I also would love to know some great anime that I haven't heard about. And I want to make these like years later videos, just like me reacting to it, giving me my review, and or, you know, talking about what went on and where they are now. Which I always find very interesting with old animes, like where did it start and where is it now? And I have one in mind that I want to do like way later this year, and I already make like a small hint in this video. So yeah, if you can guess it, which one it is. But yeah, I really want to know. So post in the comments below, give it a like of course, and subscribe if you want to be up to date every time I upload a brand new spanking new video. And be sure to check out every video at the end cards. I'm Durcoin, and thank you for watching.